So many debates these days seem tribal. There's lots of name calling, lots of insults, lots of dodging questions. This is not arguing in good faith. But what is arguing in good faith? Let's take a look. The simplest definition is, try to debate fairly and don't be dishonest. But actually explaining what that means is more complicated than it seems. So let's start with this. What's the purpose of a debate? The purpose of a philosophical debate is generally to find the truth. And there technically shouldn't be a way to lose a debate. It's not like a sport. If the other person makes a better argument, shows better evidence, and convinces you, then you've got closer to the truth, and it's a win-win. But modern debates have devolved into tribalism, when you're trying to beat the other person, putting on a performance for the audience and looking better, or political posturing, where you make yourself look good, but your opponent look bad. The truth doesn't matter, and this happens on both sides. On the right-wing conservative side, it's normally about destroying snowflakes with facts and logic. On the left-wing Democrat side, it's often exposing racism or fighting for social justice. But we should be trying to reach the truth. So what does this actually look like in practice? So I put together some guidelines to follow to hopefully have more good faith debates. Number 1 is be open to having your mind changed. What's the point in having a debate if you're never going to change your mind? The goal of the debate then is simply just to change the other person's mind and then ignore everything else they're saying. You won't listen to them, you won't really take on board their arguments because you won't be convinced. There's no point. It's simply about convincing anyone watching of your opinion and not trying to actually understand the other person's opinion. This is not about the truth, it's more about ego. It's about trying to look better or trying to defeat their arguments, rather than understand it and maybe be convinced by their arguments. Number 2, admit when you're wrong. If someone makes a valid point, you should acknowledge it. You shouldn't change the subject or try to avoid answering a question or avoid actually countering this point. You should acknowledge it. Say, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that's a good point. If you simply negate everything the other person says, then this is simply ideology and you're not interested in the truth. This may as well just be a Monty Python sketch.
But it isn't just saying no it isn't.
Yes it is.
No it isn't.
Today, even conceding a good point is considered a betrayal. Like, how could you concede a point to a right-winger? However, if someone makes a good, decent point, and you negate it no matter what, you yourself will seem unreasonable. We should be allied to the truth and not a political side. Number 3, do not presume bad intent. We should give people the benefit of the doubt unless there is evidence to prove otherwise. Don't just assume someone is lying, racist, a grifter, malicious. You have to prove it first. And even if they are, that is irrelevant to their argument. If someone makes a valid point, and they are just here to make money, does that invalidate their argument? No, it doesn't. That's an ad hominem. That's when you attack the person and not the argument. So if someone's a grifter, in other people's words, there just to make money, you still have to challenge their arguments and disprove them. Saying he's wrong because he's a grifter is an ad hominem and a logical fallacy. Number 4, don't misrepresent someone else's argument. This is called the straw man fallacy. This is where you either take what someone says and distort it to make it seem worse than it is and easier to defeat, or you make up someone said something and then attack that.
Right, so you're saying you've done your research and women are unhappy dominating men.
I didn't say they were unhappy dominating men. I said it was a bad long-term solution.
Sometimes it's intentional and sometimes not. Sometimes your opponent could be joking and you think it's serious. The simplest way to stop this is just to ask, clarify. You said this, was this a joke? Was this actually your opinion? Because then you're not misrepresenting what they're saying and you're not attacking something that no one said. If you attack an argument someone didn't say and then someone says, I didn't say that, and then you continue to claim that's what they said, then that's being dishonest. Number 5, let the other person talk.
And it's something to make us all feel proud. What's wrong with that?
Well, nothing, but don't do it on my dime. I don't see why.
It's not on your dime.
It is. This is being
Why is it
funded.
on your
This
dime?
is being funded by the taxpayer. Don't
Tourism
forget.
pays for it.
I'm sorry, I just can't take this seriously. I understand
You're
why
an
they have to.
atheist anti-monarchy.
I understand why they have to keep up with the crowns and the caves, because without these, who are these people? Nothing more than thinly
Well, I might say the same about
celebrity.
you. I mean, who are you, an atheist anti-monarchist, to tell me how this country should be run?
Right, I think
Why do you have more
the only
rights?
qualification a person needs to criticise the head of state.
Interruptions are usually rude. A few small ones here and there are okay, but if the other person can't respond at all, it's not fair. Similarly, this goes for filibustering, which is simply where you keep talking and never give them a chance to respond. These are equally just as bad as each other. You are in a debate to reach the truth. What is the point if you don't listen to the other person? There's a thing for that. It's called a podcast or a monologue. Go and do one. If you're in a debate, you should be listening to the other person, and they should listen to you. It should be a back and forth. How can you claim to be open to changing your mind if you won't even listen to the other person? Number 6, stay on topic and answer questions directly.
What literal way?
The way that God is this omniscient, omnipotent, agentic, supernatural being that sent his son down and has, caused miracles and all these things like that. The idea of God is
Do you think that there's an underlying unity of things?
Could you help me connect that to the prompt?
Changing the topic, or shifting the goalposts, to avoid answering a question or criticism is dishonest. Stick to the point, answer the questions that are being asked, and stay on topic. In philosophy, this is called a red herring, which goes something like this. So a journalist asks a politician, "Has healthcare improved under your administration?" And the politician responds, "Can we really be truly healthy? I mean, what is health anyway?" This is avoiding the question and a red herring. If someone asks you a question, answer it. Number 7, be clear about definitions. If you're using contentious words like truth, God, love, wisdom, violence, you need to specify what you mean by these words. If one person has one definition for truth and you have an entirely different definition for truth, then you'll be talking past each other the whole debate. For example, one person's definition of the truth could be objective truth, what can be proven with science. And another person's definition for truth could be what is useful for survival. These are completely different things. If these definitions aren't cleared from the beginning, then you're going to talk past each other the whole debate. And one person could say, "Is 2 plus 2 4? Is that true?" And he says, "How is that true? That doesn't help survival." You're talking past each other. Another problem is when you shift the definition. You use one definition someplace and then another definition another place. This is called an equivocation fallacy. Some people do this without even knowing about it. But to do this intentionally, or to keep doing it when someone tells you to stop doing it, it's dishonest. For example, my husband is violent. Words are violence. Which definition are you using for that? Are you using force, or are you using causing offence? You can't switch these mid-argument. This is an equivocation fallacy. Number 8. Admit when you don't know something. Saying "I don't know" is often the most honest answer. If you try to guess what things are, or you try to avoid answering the question because you don't know, this is dishonest. Just say you don't know. It doesn't mean you lose the debate. You cannot possibly know everything in this world, and just because your opponent knows one thing more than you, it doesn't mean they win. The arguments are what matters. Someone could know more information than you, and then still make a terrible argument that you could disprove. Also, when you say "I don't know," you're showing humility, you're showing curiosity. "I don't know, tell me what that is." But if you say, for example, it doesn't matter, why does that fact matter? I don't even care about this. It shows that you're not curious and you're not open to having your mind changed. Number 9, don't insult the other person.
And just like the other two, it pissed off a lot of people. And by people, I mean transphobes. Taking a look at the content, we find mindless defenses of revolting Zionists like Douglas Murray and Bill Maher.
Insulting the other person is not an argument, it's an ad hominem. Even if you don't link the insult to their argument, which is an ad hominem fallacy, it's still poisoning the well. Poisoning the well is simply when you frame the debate as "I'm a good moral person who changes their mind, and he is a very immoral bad person who never changes his mind. I'm the logical one who cares about the poor. He's an evil person who just wants to be rich and greedy. I haven't attacked any argument he has said. I've simply framed the debate as, I'm good, believe my argument, he's bad, don't believe his argument. This is called poisoning the well. You should attack the arguments people make and not their character. Well, that's all for my list. Let me know if there are any you disagree with or would add yourself. So we're all human, we all make mistakes. We can sometimes argue from emotion, argue from majority. We can sometimes misrepresent the argument of someone or your opponent. The key thing is fairness. If you misrepresent someone's argument and they tell you, you should apologize and then ask to clarify. Even if we can make mistakes, we should still try our best to be as fair as possible. I know I'm going completely against the trend by making this video, but I thought I would try to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. If we care about truth and debating fairly, we should act like it, and that starts with how we argue.